All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. Today is Saturday, October 24th. We have 1 week left this month. I normally have been taking a break on the weekends and not doing the videos, but like an hour and a half ago, and I was like, oh, wow, Bitcoin is breaking 3,000. And then it's breaking 31. Ooh, it's breaking 32. And then you know what? I got to go live, at least do a little bit of Q&A. I mean, who cares? Not gonna have a life anyway these days. We're all in quarantine. So let's do mostly Q&A. I'm going to glance at my charts. Hope you guys been enjoying the videos this week. Am I live? Where is the thing? I am live, right? Yeah, weird. So anyway, I had weird tech issues this morning. Okay. Well, I'm assuming we're live. So hopefully I have a couple of moderators that are going to do some Q&A for me. I haven't seen any yet, but it's all good. There's only 17 viewers. What is going on? Maybe a little more. Oh, maybe the thing is delayed. Anyway, it's fine. Doesn't matter. All right, let's go to the charts. Who cares? All right, we are going straight to here. Okay. So here's the weekly chart. Oh boy, 14,000 is within reach. And like I've been saying this whole week on several podcasts, I know we might have gone down a little bit the last couple of Saturdays, but in my recent memory, Bitcoin has done very, very well on Saturdays and Sunday mornings. And then it tends to pull back Sunday evening with the opening of the stock market. So I am not surprised at all that Bitcoin is pumping here on a Saturday. This is a huge breakout candle this week. This is a complete monster. And we have a shot. I mean, we still have half a day to go, and the way it's pumping. Now, it's a little harder to buy Bitcoin on the weekend. So that means it's a little harder to sell Bitcoin on the weekend. But speculative trading, you know, people are free. They're not working. And right now, this is cool. I'm very curious where. So this is 13,000. I'm sorry, it's 30,100. Why did I think it was higher? Maybe I was looking at the wrong number. It's only 13,100. Sorry. I thought we were breaking 13,200. Did I miss it? Thought I was. Maybe I just saw that 3 incorrectly when I was trying to set up the podcast. Thought I saw a new high right there. Yeah, we pretty much hit 13.2, but not 13.3 yet, but I think it's coming. I really think it's coming. I guess my numbers were too small to read. I'm like, holy shit, how big is it pumping? I was looking at the weekly chart when I thought it was a different chart. But anyway, we are live. We're going to watch it potentially go to a new high here right now on the podcast. Hey, Phil, you're in the channel. If you want to jump on, I can send you the link. That's the real Phil. Oh, wait, wrong thing. Hold on. Delete message. All right. Well, I don't know if he's busy or not, but some people have lives. What do I get? I need the link. Hold on. How do I invite people? Invite. There it is. Copy invite link. He might not be able to join. He's busy. But I'll send him the link anyway, just in case. Just in case. Streaming if you want to join. Also, someone to Joe Sass. He hasn't been on my show in forever. All right, cool. All right, we'll look at some Q&A. with you guys. So here is the weekly chart is looking beautiful. Any close above 13,000 is bullish for me going into next week. And the higher we close, the more bullish I am going into next week. But this is not the area to FOMO. I still think there's going to be a little bit of a pullback, especially if we're hitting a new all-time high in 2 days. I think if we're hitting that 14,000 by Monday, I think that could be the place where we take a major pullback down. And that's what I would really like to see. I would like us to approach that 13.8, 13.9 area around the vicinity of an MRI top, which is coming in a couple of days. So by Sunday night into Tuesday, we should definitely have our MRI top, which should slow down the market, maybe similar to the way we slowed down right here. So this was the last MRI top. The top came in the day before, and we had our MRI top, and then we had a 1, 2, 3, 4 day correction, and then we started rising again. That is exactly what I'm kind of foreshadowing going into the future. We still have this triangle right here, and we can still pull back into this triangle. But I do think that right now there is still enough FOMO to get us higher into that high $13,000 range. And then we're going to take a little bit of a breather. Now, that breather could be horizontal consolidation, or that breather could be a pullback all the way back down to 12,000 or even as low as 11,500, as we discussed the other day on this channel. That's the daily view. That's the weekly view. Monthly view is going to be great. We're going to close as the second highest month ever. And we got a shot at closing at the highest month ever. If we can close at 14,000, that would be the highest monthly close ever, which would also be absolutely great. Looking at the funding rate, look, the funding rate is not even favoring the bears yet. This is amazing. This is, I can't remember the last time the price was flying this high, this fast, without the funding rate favoring the bears. That's very rare, very, very rare. All the metrics are still super, super bullish. Here's the 4-hour chart. It was the 4-hour chart that really drew my attention. We only have 12 minutes to go, and we are about to close as the highest 4-hour close in possibly years. Possibly in years. Let me see here. Back in August, did we close higher on a 4-hour basis? Well, I guess June, July, sorry, not August. So right here, we had a 4-hour close of 13,000. So that didn't do it. So there's been one. There's been one greater 4-hour close, and that was at 13,800. So that was right at the top. So we happened to close right at the top. So this would beat it. It would actually potentially beat the swing high. So this would be the second 4-hour close in over 2 years, maybe 3 years, or close to 3 years. That is, again, super bullish. Now, I have no idea what the hell I'm drawing. So what the hell is that? Jesus. Yeah, I don't use this stuff. Yeah, I don't use any of this stuff. Anyway, I don't want to draw that either. Delete that. I just want to put something that's at least normal looking. Okay, so where am I here? We're going back to the front. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. Here we go. I would love to close above the breakout line. We just pulled back a little bit 2 minutes ago. I still think we can close above this breakout line, and we've been bullish on a 4-hour scale. This is great. Bullish again across all time frames right now. 1-hour chart. I'll hang with you with 10 more minutes. I want to see where this closes, and then we're going to take a look at some questions. Oh, 1 second, guys. Okay. So here's our 1 hour chart. And the 1 hour chart, oh, let me tell people I'm live. All right. So in this 1 hour chart, we're probably not going to close. Well, we're definitely not going to close at the highest hourly close. But this is looking really good. This was a weird situation. So I will be extra bullish if the hourly chart can close above this blue line. So everything for me is based on closing prices at every level. And I'm pretty bullish right now. Yeah, do I think Google and Amazon will join the crypto chain? Yeah, I think so. I think eventually Amazon's going to just start accepting Bitcoin as payment. They're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to compete. Google may have to integrate Bitcoin somehow, especially Amazon. Amazon more so than Google, but Google will have to as well. I'm waiting for Netflix. Netflix is the one. Netflix is the big one. Netflix, Netflix can integrate. Netflix can have the most use for Bitcoin because it can take in a Bitcoin payment through the television set by displaying a QR code for people to watch a movie anywhere in the world. They don't even need a subscription to Netflix. Netflix app could give them movies and shows just by people never registering for Netflix and just paying for the movies and shows with Bitcoin. I guess with the new travel rule, maybe they won't be able to sell anything greater than $250 because they won't know who's buying it. But for Netflix, it's perfect because their services would be just a micropayment. Now, they will have to adopt the Lightning Network in order to do it. Doing it with the Bitcoin network would create gigantic fees on the network. But there's no reason why Netflix shouldn't be showing you a QR code to buy your movies and shows seamlessly without them even knowing your damn email. Like, it's not about that. It's about, am I paying to watch a show? Am I pirating a show, or am I paying to watch a show? It's probably the easiest way to get rid of, to eliminate movie downloads and movie pirating, just by giving them the simplest possible solution at a reasonable price to watch their movies and shows. Imagine if just at a click of a button on your cell phone, without ever registering for Netflix, you could, just purchase a movie or a show. You may have to register and prove your identity if, say, you're buying, let's say, a movie that's rated R, a movie that's for 17 and over, and they're like, well, we can't have kids buying 17 and over. So if you're going to buy something that's requires that's like a rated R movie, you may have to sign up with Netflix and prove your identity somehow, or your age somehow. And maybe there'll be solutions for that without, killing your identity. Pay per second watched. That's also doable. Per second, maybe a little too much. Maybe pay per minute watched. Maybe pay per 5 minutes watched. Yeah, because if you start watching a movie and you hate the movie and you don't finish the movie, I think it's great that you don't get charged for the rest of the movie. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's doable in the near future with Bitcoin payments. I don't see why not. I really don't. Tone, that is not how distribution deals work in the entertainment space. They will have to adapt. They will have to adapt. The way the entertainment space had to adapt to the existence of Pirate Bay and everyone downloading movies and watching them for free, they will have to adapt. Like I don't give a shit how the distribution works if something like Bitcoin forces them to change how it works. What's the value of the blue line? Well, whatever the price of Bitcoin is right now, $13,150. And we got 3 minutes to go. We got 3 minutes to go. All right, I think we got a few questions. Tone, do you see Bitcoin going below 10,000 again? Or are these days over now, realistically speaking, or could the elections affect the price, including the stock? Yeah, I would like to hold off on answering that question until after the elections. Ideally, I would like to hold off on answering that questions until the end of the year, ideally. But let's say going into next year, I'm happy to take a bet that we would like the bet that I did this time, where I said that Bitcoin would not spend more than 90 days above 10,000. A bet that I lost a week ago, almost made it till the end of the year. I'm willing to take the opposite of that bet, even for 1 month. I would say that Bitcoin will not spend more than 1 month below 10,000 next year. So it doesn't have to be consecutive either. So I would say Bitcoin will not spend more than 30 closes below 10,000 next year. As far as this year is concerned, I want to hold off on answering this until after the election. But I mean, I'm giving it a 70% chance we're never going below 10,000 again. I'm pretty damn bullish right now. I don't know if that's stupid or not, but I'm pretty damn bullish. I haven't been this bullish since early 2017. How long do you think this bull market will last, or when will the bear market return? So if you watched my show yesterday with David Poole, what I was saying was we're going to go to a monthly chart because it's just cleaner. So on a monthly chart, you see how in 2013 we had a bull market. I mean, you can look at it by percentage. You had a bull market here going into 2013, and you topped out. I mean, you went over 10x. You went a lot. So let's use the close. So here, 1,000% is 10x. Let's just use a realistic number here. We went 10x, but after going 10x here, well, let me control it better. we went 10x. And then we went 10x a second time, starting in October. That's October. Starting October 1st into late December, we almost went another 10x. So we had two 10x pumps. Now, in between the two 10x pumps, I'm not going to cherry pick the very high. Well, in this case, maybe I kind of should. In between them, as you can see, we dropped 75%. But I'm going to be more realistic. This wasn't really 10x. This was almost 20x. So that was too big. So let's split the middle here. Let's say we dropped a reasonable 60%. This was actually tough to catch the low. 50% drop. So let's say a 10x move, 50% drop, and then another 10x move. And this took place over a 1-year time horizon. I envision something similar over a slightly longer time horizon with a slightly smaller rises. I don't see two 10x moves, but I certainly see a 5x move. We're looking at 500%. So here's a 5x move. And how long can it take? I don't know. Let's say 6 months. Let's say going into the summer of next year, we have a 5x move. Where does that take us? That takes us to 100K. Oh man, that's actually very optimistic. Let's be reasonable here. Let's say we have a 300% move. That takes us to $50,000. From there, I can see a 50% crash, which would take us to about 20 to 25,000. Let's say we go back to 20,000, the prior swing high. Okay, I should make that red. And then from there, I could see, this would be fast. And then from there, I could see a slow grind back up to 50,000. And then from this $50,000 area, or let's say from that $40,000 area, we go up another 300 to 400%. This is something that's realistic to me. And that takes us to say 150 from there. And how long would that take? Before the next halving. So into the next halving. So I can see something like this, maybe even higher than 150, but this is the realistic version. Okay, so something like that, and this would be red. Okay, so I envision something like that. So this would be like a very mini bear. It's not going to be a multi-year bear market like we had. Well, again, people are debating, when did the bear market end? Did the bear market end in, first quarter of 2019, or did the bear market end in first quarter of 2020? I called the end of the bear market in 2020. Some people called it back here. I called it back here. Those that were very confident in the ending of the bear market here and were over leveraged paid the price here. So it depends on your view. Can we reach, say, 100,000 in 2021? The answer is yes, we can, but I don't think that we will. I think we will top before 100,000 in 2021, have a significant correction of between 40 and 60%, but the correction would be short. The correction would be more like this, but twice as long. So here is a correction. And this is the correction that I showed you guys. This is a correction of 75%, but it only took 4 months to do. So I'm thinking maybe 6 to 8 months. So a slightly longer correction, but not like we had in 2014 and not like we had in 2018. So these corrections were minimum a year long, debatable if they were 2 years long. I can see a correction between 6 and 8 months. after a bubble top next year, and then immediately followed by another bubble top. And then we can have a more sustained correction after the next halving, or going into the next halving. So that's kind of my outlook. Hey, Tone, in your video with David, you said you were afraid that a breakout to all-time high could be happening too fast, too quick. Yes, it can be happening too fast, too quick. So even this move to 50,000, I should drag it out a little bit more. I really don't want to see it before the summer of next year. Now, what happens if we push up really high right now and we reach that 50,000 area for a new all-time high, let's say by March of next year? That creates an unsustainable rise that could lead to a much longer and deeper fall. If you really want to know more details on that, you need to go and watch my video with Ugly Old Goat from this area. I think it was like June 19th or June 20th or something of last year, where we discussed it. Because we went up so high so fast, we were both very concerned that this unreasonable rise would lead to a prolonged bear market after this rise, and it did. I mean, look, we went all the way down to $4,000, and it took us almost a year to get there. It took us 9 months to get there. This was in June, and this was in March. So yes, if we get to 20,000 sometime next week or sometime next month, that could lead to a major drop back down to the $10,000 area, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So no, I don't want to see it break 14,000 even next month, to be honest with you. I want to see a rejection at 14,000. I want to spend November going back down towards 12,000. I want to see December going back up to 14,000. And I want to see the break of 14,000 next year, not this year. If we break 14,000 this year, there is a complete open gap, an open air all the way to 20,000. And that means if we break 14,000 this month, there's a high probability we will get to 20,000 next month or in early December. And that would lead to a much more severe outcome, more similar to what happened between June of 2019 into March of 2019. Maybe not as severe because the COVID did have something to do with it. But I am gonna be anticipating something like if we get to 20K, I am probably gonna be anticipating a drop back down below 10K. Here's the weird dynamic. I said earlier in this, and this is not a contradiction. You may think it's a contradiction, but it's not. I said earlier in this video that I do not expect us to go below 10,000 ever again. However, if we go up to 20,000 this year, I will expect 10,000 again. This is this weird dynamic of markets, and you really need to understand this dynamic of markets, that if we go too high too fast, we are increasing the downside after the buying ends. So the sooner you get to 20,000, the more likely you are to have a catastrophe like what happened in March of last year than if you get to 20,000 in a more sustained, slow fashion. So hope that part really sinks in, that I'm not expecting 10K ever again. But if we get to 20K this year, I am going to expect sub $10,000 prices sometime next year. Have you considered that if you take out the plus token pump and the subsequent COVID correction, the bear market is just as long as the 2016 one? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Correct. This rise should have never happened. Prices should not have gone above that $7,000 area. If you go back to my videos, you hear me being dumbfounded. And if the prices had never gone up this high, they probably would never crash that low. It was just misallocation of capital and trades and leverage across the board in both directions all the time. Plus, the plus token was selling their tokens. So yes, if the plus token pump never happened, it's very possible that the bear market would have been a lot more orderly and way closer to the way the bear market took place all throughout 2015. Look, 2015 had its pumps and drops as well, but they weren't as big. Here's a 2015 pump of 40%. Here is a 2015 crash of 35%. They were still happening. This was the triple M Ponzi scheme, but it didn't cause a giant crash because we had an entire year of bottoming out. There were a lot of strong hands that were willing to hold through it, and we made this amazing ascending triangle. So yes, I anticipated something more like this, but the plus token took these two tops, combined them together, we raced all the way up, and then had the subsequent crash similar to this secondary crash. So yes, 100% true that without that plus token pump, it would have been much better for the stability of Bitcoin getting out of the current bear market. Thanks, Vasily. All right, more questions. Okay, I answered the Google, Amazon, and Netflix question. All right, so let's see where we are right now. So let's see where that hourly chart closed. Okay, so the hourly chart could not break the blue line, and we pulled back all the way back to 13,100. We actually almost broke 13,000 to the downside. That's okay. Look, the longer it takes us to break this line, the more stable the price is on its subsequent pump. All right, more questions. Wow, we have a lot of questions. No, the MRI does not work on Coinigy because it's written in Pine language. Sorry about that. Tone, how low can the correction from 13,800 go? I believe that the correction from 13,800 should not go below 11.5. However, like I said a few minutes ago, if we end up pumping to 20,000 this year, the correction could go sub 10K. So the higher we go, the worse the potential outcome if we go up too fast. If we do go over 100K by the end of 2021, what would be your pullback number before the next halving? Okay, so let's go back to the monthly chart. And if we do go over, see, this takes me over. So right here, so we're talking if we end up going over or going to 100K on the current pump without a major pullback. Here's the thing. Whether we go to 50K or 100K, my pullback target is still going to be in the 20 to 25K range. Now, the slower we go there, the higher I can raise this target. So the faster we get to 100K, the more likely we are to come back to 20. But the slower we get to 100K, now the more likely path is a drop to 30. Or if we get to 100K real slow, the more likely drop is only down to 50 or 60. So it's all about how fast we get to 100K. The obvious target to come back to is 20K. And now you just got to judge the speed and the height of that move. Tone, after post 100K, what do you see the worst case low being after that? The worst case low after 100K is 20K. That is the worst case scenario. That was my worst case. Remember, I'm very consistent. My worst case scenario of the 2018 bear market was always the prior high of 1300, 1250, 1300. That was the worst case scenario. People thought that was my most optimistic target of the bear market. No, that was my worst case scenario. We were able to pretty much double, a little more than double that worst case scenario, which is good. Now, during the 2014 bear market, during that bear market, my worst case scenario was 110, and I came close. We fell to, I think, 140 or 150. It depended on which exchange you looked at. We fell to about 150. My worst case scenario was 110. That was my area. Okay. Now, the reason it was 110 is because I felt that 250 was a little too high. The prior swing high was a little too high. So I went down, but this area here, I felt that it was going to be the tops of these weekly candles at the time, which was around 100, 110. That was the stability from which we broke out in October. So that to me was the worst case scenario. Now, during the early 2013 bear market, which I wasn't even a public person then, so no one would have heard. I didn't even start speaking at my first conference until 2014. But in 2013 bear market, my worst case scenario was the prior swing high, which is $30. We did not make it either. We made it down to about 45. This one had a low of 45. I don't know why it says 55 here. I think the leading exchanges at the time, it went as low as 45. So we have been consistently falling maybe double the prior swing high. So that's the worst case scenario. So if history of Bitcoin holds and we go above 100K, my worst case scenario is 20K, but historically it seems that Bitcoin likes to double the Tone Vays worst case scenario. So that puts us at around 40K as a realistic, you can buy the dip, and then if it still falls another 50% from there, as long as you're not more than 2x leveraged, you will survive and not have your entire account get wrecked. Do you think alts will reach their all-time highs? No, I don't. I think 99% of alts will never reach their all-time highs. I actually question whether Ethereum will ever reach its all-time high again. I'm pretty sure Dash won't. I know Bcash won't. Litecoin probably won't. Monero has a shot at reaching its all-time high, but that's about it. Some of these shitcoins like Binance Coin, they have a shot at reaching new all-time highs. The scam coins like Chainlink, they have a chance because their all-time high was recent. But the big 2017, the shitcoin all-time highs of 2017, maybe 1 to 3 of those shitcoins from the 2017 days, they maybe 1 to 3 of them out of thousands have a shot at reaching new all-time highs. If your shitcoin made a new all-time high in the last 12 months, then yeah, there is a high probability that shitcoin will reach a new all-time high. All right, more questions. Big question day for you guys. Yeah, I did call the top at 7K. It was the responsible place to call a top. but I also became bullish when it broke the 7K. Just because I call a top at 7K doesn't mean I'm not allowed to change my mind. So it's only people that don't understand trading would assume that's normal. So yeah, I did call the top at 7K. It's publicly available information, but I also became a bull at before I even broke 10K. We're talking back in 2017. I called the top here at no, not here. I also called the top at 5K, but short-term top. And then I called the top at 7K here. On a weekly chart, it's clearer. And oh my gosh, I was off by a month and a half. That was my mistake. I was off by a month and a half. See, people don't think in terms of time. People think they live in a bubble where time doesn't exist. They think they live in a sci-fi movie. So I call the top here at 7,000. And then I became a bull again here. But from a time perspective, I was wrong by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. I was wrong by 5 weeks of time on an asset that was in a bull market for years. So it's up to you. If you want to risk your life savings in the blow off top of a bubble, that's on you. Because then when you lose it all, you're going to blame me anyway. So the responsible thing to do was to call a top at 7,000. And we pulled back pretty hard at 7,000. But then when we quickly reversed and started FOMOing up, I became a bull again. And I was a bull all the way until this candle here, the January 8th candle. This is the candle where I became a bear. I became a bear here, became a bull again here, long term. Well, I didn't have, like, this is the bubble top, and I knew it was a bubble. So I didn't know where it was going to end. So when I became a bear right here in early November, I was forced to become a bull because the price broke new all-time high. But I was not comfortable with being a bull all throughout 8K till 20K. I was not very comfortable with that bullish, with the bullish outlook. I then hung in there for being a bull because I don't have the ability to time the bubble top. I didn't know about hyperwave back then. Tyler did a great job. Tyler became a bear right here on the week of December 18th because of hyperwave. I became a bear the week of January 8th because of my style of trading. And I was a bear, generally a bear, and I hated bear from January 8th, the week of January 8th, all the way until the week of March 9th. So when we bounced off of 3.8 thousand, that's when I became a bull. So I was a bear that whole time. And I've been a bull ever since the second week of March. And I plan to remain a bull until, well, I have no idea until when, but I'm a long-term bull, intermediate-term bull, and I'm starting not to become a short-term bull only because how much we just went up. But mid-term and long-term, I'm bullish, and short-term, I am reluctantly bullish. Why is the Bitcoin hyperwave over if we never went back to 1,000? Because the hyperwave is not over. The hyperwave is actually not over. The hyperwave, if I pull up the chart of hyperwave. All right, why are we not typing? What's going on? Is my keyboard not working? What is going on today? What is going on with my technology? What the hell? I have another keyboard, but what the? Here is the hyperwave lines. See, the blue line is the $1,000 area. So there's two ways to end hyperwave. One way is to get to the blue line. Another way to end hyperwave is to break phase 7. But phase 7 can always be adjusted. But phase 7 can't, trend upwards. So phase 7 can be up to its horizontal. So we can just keep lowering phase 7's angle until it gets to horizontal. And once the price of Bitcoin breaks the horizontal version of phase 7, that's when hyperwave will officially be over. So you may not like it, but that's the rules. So right now, I am adjusting my hyperwave to the current weekly close, which is still 2 days away, but there you are. So hyperwave is not over. Hyperwave's still there. However, at this point in Bitcoin's life, the probability that Bitcoin will break the horizontal version of hyperwave, which is just above $16,000, versus ending hyperwave by going below 1,000, you know where we stand. The probability of breaking 16,000 is significantly higher than the probability of going below 1,000. But in no case did hyperwave actually fail. To me, it didn't fail. The reason why hyperwave didn't fail to me is because the number one job of hyperwave is to get you out of a bubble top quickly. And that's exactly what hyperwave did. And this is why Tyler Jenks exited all his Bitcoin positions in the middle of December and declared Bitcoin to be a bear market. Hyperwave did that. Hyperwave allowed him to do that. Now, the second part of hyperwave is when an asset is in a hyperwave, in his case, he said it always goes down to its original base, which in Bitcoin was 1,000. I debated him on that a little bit, guys. I didn't think it would ever go back to 1,000. I mean, I said the worst case scenario is 1,500, which isn't that far off from 1,000. But realistically, I would have been a monster buyer at 2,000, doubling the potential maximum drop. And the reason why I always felt that way is because of the NASDAQ hyperwave. So if I go back here and I have it under oh, my keyboard's working again. I have it under NDX, and one of these is hyperwave. Let me see if it's this one. No, that does not look like hyperwave. So that's not it. Let me try another one. Low chart layout. Maybe it's under NASDAQ. NASDAQ bubble, maybe? Shoot. All right, open a new tab. Open a new tab. One of these is going to be it. Not this one. There it is. There it is. There's the NASDAQ hyperwave. So the reason why I've always felt that Bitcoin would not reach phase 1 is because here is like NASDAQ's phase 1. And if I zoom in, NASDAQ, just like Bitcoin historically, you see that right there? That's actually only 37%. But NASDAQ, I thought it was a little bit higher. Maybe my phase 1 line was a little too high. Maybe I could lower it to here. It's hard to say where the NASDAQ phase 1 line is. So maybe it's there. That looks like a better line. So right here, you can see how NASDAQ was almost 100% above its hyperwave phase 1 line. And that's how I felt Bitcoin would be as well. I felt, and Tyler and I debated. I mean, look, it's his model. It's his trading strategy of hyperwave. And the hyperwave of NASDAQ, same thing. See, this is phase 7. This was the original phase 7. And when this phase 7 never made it back to phase 1, this became the next phase 7. And then when we broke that top, this became the next phase 7. And then this became phase 7. And once the horizontal version of phase 7 was broken, because remember, phase 7 starts after phase 6, which is the quick drop that only takes a couple of weeks. It doesn't take months or years. Phase 6 only takes, maybe up to 6 weeks, maybe a month or two, but that's it. It's a very quick drop and then a rebound. So once this phase 7 was broken, that's when hyperwave was concluded. And if you think you made a mistake waiting for phase 7 to break, phase 7 broke in right here at once you get a weekly close above that line. That broke in March 2014. How did NASDAQ do since March 2014? Oh, look at that. It's up almost 200%. So you didn't necessarily do bad over here. Now, personally, I was a bull of the NASDAQ earlier than that once we broke the 2008 top. So right here is where I became a big bull of the NASDAQ. So that puts me at 300% up since I've been a bull on the NASDAQ. But the point is, the NASDAQ hyperwave never made it back to phase 1, in my opinion. And it bottomed out about 2x higher, which is very similar to what Bitcoin did. And then look at and I talked about this comparison. The NASDAQ had its secondary low, which was very close to the first low, which is also what Bitcoin did, just it did it a year later, and the NASDAQ did it 8 years later. But our technology moves much faster now, so it makes total sense to me. And now I believe we are, in relation to the NASDAQ, we are here. I talked about this. There's even videos of this. I believe we are right here. If we compare Bitcoin to the NASDAQ, we are here. We have just broken. This is my comparison to to last year's swing high at 14,000. And right now we are breaking that area. So right now I believe Bitcoin is where the NASDAQ was in the summer of 2012, getting ready to do one of these. That's how I see the future for Bitcoin. And the NASDAQ went up from that area, as we said, about 300%. So that's a reasonable target. A 300% rise in Bitcoin would put us in that, $40,000, $50,000 range. But NASDAQ took 5 years to do this, more, 7 years to do this. And Bitcoin should only take a year or two. Can you cover the JP Morgan news that's breaking right now? I can't because I don't know what the news is. If one of my moderators can send me an article, a good, clean article about the JP Morgan news, I'm happy to pull it up and read it on live air. Do you think that having 21 Bitcoins will put you in the world elite status? I believe that it will, but I also think that having 21 Bitcoins, it sounds great to be in the world's elite status, but you also could be like Edward Snowden's version of world elite status, right? So I would say Edward Snowden is one of the top 100, if not top 10, most influential people in the world. But he is also persecuted, facing, life in very horrible prison. So just because you are an elite person in one form and, beloved by some, it doesn't mean that you will not be a very hated person where as more people know you have 21 Bitcoin, you are in danger from your enemies and potentially from the state for having 21 Bitcoin. So yeah, it's too late for me. I'm a YouTuber. But if you have 21 Bitcoin, the best thing you can do is keep your mouth shut and don't tell anyone. I would hire a security force. How do you know your security force isn't going to turn on you? All right, I got a JP Morgan article. We'll get to it in a minute. Let me see if there's any other questions. I got to answer questions faster. I like the hyperwave question, though. Tone, what overlays and oscillators did you use when you were day trading? Or what was your favorite time frame apart from the 10 a.m. reversal? I didn't use any overlays or oscillators when I was day trading. I don't think that oscillators and overlays work for day trading. When you're using a 10-minute chart, you don't have time to consider what's going on in the oscillator space. I didn't use moving averages. The only thing I used in that, the only thing I used in my day trading was basically chart patterns, candlestick patterns, and a little bit of sequential at the time. Now I would be using MRI. So that's what I would be using. Tone, won't Bitcoin become harder to trade as the price continues to move higher? No, I don't think it'll be harder to trade. I think it'll just start to move a little bit like slower on large scales. I see new entrants getting their faces ripped off because they're using too much leverage. I mean, you got to start off with very little leverage. Tone, if PayPal did accept direct Bitcoin transfer in and out, well, would you consider that great news? Yes, I would. I would consider that great news. If Bitcoin would allow people to pay in Bitcoin and those people will retain their Bitcoin, it's great news, but it's still a little unfortunate because PayPal still controls the majority, it still controls your private keys. It's not how Bitcoin should be used, but it's better. Look, more Bitcoin adoption is always a plus. Do you think Mt. Gox's refund will affect the price? I don't know. I don't think so. Can you please add the numbers on the hyperwave lines? Sure, I guess. But I mean, there's only 3 lines, really. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. The little drop is 4, and then the big red one is the 7. That's 1. My bad. That's 1. The initial rise is phase 2. The second rise is phase 3. The final rise is phase 4. The initial drop is 5. You guys, come on. You get the hyperwave book. Support the late great Tyler Jenks. Buy the book. Buy the hyperwave book. It's very, very good. Tone, can you? Oh, thank you for the super chat. I can't even pronounce your name. Sorry, Train. Can you please add? Oh God. All right, we're moving on from hyperwave. I'm sorry, man, but thank you for the €5 donation. All right, we got some JP Morgan articles. Let's take a look. Let's see what they say. I don't know what they say. Bitcoin has considerable upside as it better competes with gold as alternative currency, JP Morgan says. All right, let's read the highlights. Okay, then we just read that. With millennials set to become a more important market participant over the next few decades, their favorability towards Bitcoin over gold should set up the cryptocurrency for success, according to JP Morgan. Thank you, JP Morgan. You have admitted to something we have been saying for a decade. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys want me to say? But Bitcoin still represents only a paltry sum of gold's market. That is correct. That is correct. And the cryptocurrency would have to surge 10x from current levels to match the same value of the physical gold market. I think it has to go more than that, but yes, that is also correct. Even a modest crowding out of gold as an alternative currency over the longer term would imply doubling or tripling of the price of Bitcoin from here. Yes, okay, what do you want me to say, guys? I mean, JP Morgan finally agrees with Tone Vays and several others. It's just that I am more realistic about all of this because I have been there calling the last 2 bear markets. Well, other people don't know how to call a bear market. How many people out there? I always have to refer back. I don't like Googling on the screen share. I always go back to this article. Doug Casey. Doug Casey is great, but you have to read this one particular article. Hopefully it still exists. Where is it? The people. Oh, wow. Did I talk about it so much that they finally removed the article from the internet? Oh, shit. Crap. Oh, boy. Hold on. I can't seem to find it now. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Shit. Well, that's not good. Wow. All right, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Maybe if I search. Okay, please tell me this is an. Please tell me this still works. Crap. Oh, there it is. Beautiful. Wow. I was not able to Google for this. I've always been able to Google for this by typing in Doug Casey, People Magazine, 1980. Oh, maybe it's 1981. That's why. Not 1980. Wow. It's no longer in Google search. Interesting. Interesting. I'll put I'll give you guys the link, and I'll put it in my, I guess, news QA group. Maybe. This is great. So here's the thing. In 1981, here's what Doug Casey said. Doug Casey. Let me see. Here. By 1983, Casey warns, the U.S. will enter a depression that will make the crash of 1929 look like a technical error. Mounting inflation will lead to bank failures, the collapse of Social Security and pension funds, a return to bartering, urban riots, and possibly even nuclear holocaust and germ warfare among industrial nations. Now, a lot of it sounds very true today, but he said by 1983. Look, I know you could be wrong by a couple of years, but it's 40 years, okay? It's almost 2023. So look, I give people a break when they're wrong by a few years on their timeline, but it's been 40 years, okay? Now, also, I've been talking about this years ago before our current germ warfare, which is the reaction to COVID, before the giant civil unrest between the right and the left, at least in the US. Social Security is on the verge of collapse. I agree with him. Pension funds are on the verge of collapse. It is happening. And bank failure almost happened in 2008. That can still happen. Now this is starting to be a little more realistic. But he said it was going to be 2 years away. And it's been 40 years. Okay? It does sound like 2021, but not 1983. But here are the suggestions, right? Now for the good news. Amid the gloom and doom, Casey urges there are opportunities. He urges speculators to buy into companies that have fallen out of public favor. Utilities committed to nuclear power or chemical companies accused of illegal dumping. Okay, that's, I don't know if that's the greatest suggestion. Casey cautions investors to unload their pricey U.S. real estate. Okay, so his suggestion was to unload pricey U.S. real estate in 1981. 1981 is when he's telling you to sell your pricey U.S. real estate, and he's recommending to buy property in Zimbabwe, okay, which had hyperinflation twice since this prediction. So this is what I mean. Collectibles like stamps, rare coins, even knives. He's also, look at gold bullion now selling for about $500 an ounce, will jump to $2,000 an ounce during the next 2 years. Okay, so again, this looks like the perfect things that are happening in 2020, not 1983, right? So he's been off by 40 years. The predictions are great, but they are off by 40 years. And the problem that I have is during those 40 years, he never changed his mind. Doug Casey is great. I love his interviews. They're awesome. But he was always saying this for the last 40 years and even today. Look, eventually you're going to be right. But it's been 40 years, man. I thought this was an awesome article. I gave you guys the links to check that out. In hindsight, reading this in 2020, it's very, very accurate for 2020, but not for 1983. In 1983, and for the last 30 years or 35 years prior to this recent event, it's been the complete opposite. Great article, by the way. Hope it never leaves the internet. People should back that up. Right. And that's my problem. Never changed his mind. Now, people say the same thing about me and Ethereum, but from a technological perspective, I'm still listening to the right engineers. Okay. So, what do you want me to say about JP Morgan? They should have wrote this 5 years ago when we were making fun of them. What else can I say? There's nothing to comment on. They're finally understanding Bitcoin, maybe. All right, I think we're coming to an end here. Something about how blockchain will end commercial banking. I don't think so. I think there'll still be commercial banking. All right, guys. Let's look at the price of Bitcoin one more time. I'm going to close some of these hyperwave charts. See, that was my outlook for Bitcoin. It's just happening a little bit sooner, but been a bull. Been a bull. Pulling back to 13. Well, we just wait for this line to break. Just gonna wait for this line to break. Could be tonight. Gold pulled back a little bit. That's good, but I'm still not comfortable as a gold bull right now. S&P 500 closed strong on Friday, so I'm bullish going into next week. All right. That's it for me, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to stop the screen share. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.